Let's dive right into this explainer and completely transform how you manage your aquarium. We are going to take it from being a stressful, wet-sleeved chore and turn it into a beautifully balanced, self-sustaining ecosystem. We'll be using some great aquarium maintenance tips alongside clear sketches to make the whole explanation super easy. So if you love fish but absolutely hate the constant upkeep, you're definitely in the right place. We really have to ask right out of the gate, are you working for your tank, or is your tank working for you? Because for a lot of folks, the reality is definitely the former. Keeping an aquarium can sometimes feel like a part-time job, and today, we're going to fix that. Here's our blueprint for today. We'll quickly hit the time maintenance trap, visualize your setup, cover essential do's and don'ts, dive into the great filter debate, look at food and water quality, and finally, reveal the low-maintenance blueprint. Starting with Section 1, the time maintenance trap. This is the exact problem that drives so many beginners right out of the hobby within their very first year. 3 hours. Seriously, if you have a decent-sized, heavily stocked tank, standard maintenance can easily eat up 3 hours a week. And frankly, that's just a pain. Between hauling heavy buckets of sloshing water and aggressively scrubbing glass, it's exhausting. And this sketch brilliantly illustrates exactly why it takes so long. Just look at this massive checklist of regular chores. You've got regular 20 to 30% water changes every few weeks, cleaning that stubborn algal scum from the glass, pruning excess plant growth, and meticulously raking the surface layer of the substrate with a vacuum device every single week. It's literally a never-ending list. Moving on to Section 2, visualizing your aquarium setup. Let's see how building a better foundation from day one can save you an incredible amount of time down the road. It's really fascinating to map out your two primary paths with these sketches. You have your freshwater setups containing just small amounts of dissolved salts and gases, and then you have the marine setup, which is drastically different due to its heavy salt content. That marine path requires a much tighter grip on specific gravity and trace elements, making it generally more maintenance-heavy than a basic freshwater ecosystem. Now, here's a tip that always catches beginners off guard. Go big. I know, it sounds totally counterintuitive, right? But buying the largest tank you have space for actually reduces your workload. Why? Because larger water volumes create a significantly more stable environment. A tiny chemical mistake in a 5-gallon tank is completely lethal. But that exact same mistake in a 50-gallon tank, barely a blip on the radar. As the old saying goes, dilution is the solution to pollution. Section 3, the essential do's and don'ts. Let's rapidly run through some fundamental rules every aquarist absolutely needs to know to keep things running smoothly. The absolute most crucial point to take away here is balance. Small, regular water changes of 10 to 25%, good, but you should never, ever completely tear down your tank to clean it. Doing so will disastrously destroy your biological balance. Also, always treat your tap water for chlorine. Definitely don't leave the lights on all day unless you're purposely trying to farm algae. And please, whatever you do, don't overstock your tank. And hey, if you are starting with a brand new tank, these 4 steps are non-negotiable. Do not buy your fish the same day you buy the tank. Set it up, let it run for a couple of days to stabilize the temperature, test the water for pH and ammonia, and only then should you safely acclimate your new fish. On to Section 4, the great filter debate. We now arrive at a really fascinating and highly contested conflict in the aquarium community regarding how exactly you should treat your filtration system. To truly understand this debate, we first have to understand what your filter actually does. It isn't just a mechanical sponge catching floating dirt. It's a living, breathing home for beneficial aerobic nitrifying bacteria. These amazing little guys eat the highly toxic ammonia produced by fish waste, convert it into nitrites, and then into much safer nitrates. Your filter is, quite literally, the life support system of the tank. Which brings us to this incredible contrast in our sources. We have 2 very different perspectives here. On one side, commercial advice, like the guidelines from manufacturer Aquarium, recommends replacing your filter cartridges at least once a month and rinsing them weekly. But on the exact opposite side, aquarium science insists that replacing or vigorously cleaning your filter media is a massive mistake. Their argument is pretty straightforward. By throwing away the media, you're throwing away the very colony of beneficial bacteria keeping your fish alive, which can completely crash your tank's ecosystem. All right, Section 5, food and water quality. Let's step away from the filter for a second and look at the direct inputs of your tank. Because remember, What goes in must be managed. When looking at feeding options, this handy sketch lays out your three main paths. You have top-quality commercial foods, which are low in moisture but highly concentrated in nutrients. Then you have live foods, striking a balance between cultured terrestrial foods like brine shrimp and natural live foods like daphnia, mosquito larvae, or earthworms. Providing a varied diet is exactly how you keep your fish vibrant and healthy. And as this blueprint clearly shows, nutritional needs change drastically based on age. Notice how younger, rapidly growing ornamental fish need significantly more crude protein. We're talking between 40 to 50%. But once they reach adulthood, that requirement drops down to about 30 to 35%. But here is the golden rule of feeding. Only feed what your fish can consume in under 2 minutes. Any uneaten food just sits there, rots, and pollutes your water. Oh, and a quick warning on automated feeding. While the older mechanical clock-style auto feeders are super reliable, the sources warn that newer solid-state auto feeders can sometimes be tough to program and might glitch. If they malfunction and dump a week's worth of food at once, well, it'll instantly foul your water. Actually, scratch that. Foul is an understatement. It could be totally fatal to your fish. Finally, Section 6, the low-maintenance blueprint. Let's see how all this builds into our ultimate goal. Let's look at how science, biology, and some really smart equipment can give you your weekends back. Instead of doing everything by hand, you can upgrade your setup with these specific tools. Using a pump for removing water means absolutely no more lugging heavy buckets. Adding a mechanical auto feeder takes care of daily meals effortlessly. Incorporating a large sump filter with a plant refugium naturally absorbs all those leftover nitrates. Throw in some wave makers for consistent water flow and an inline carbon filter to strip chlorine straight from the tap, and you're golden. By automating the heavy lifting, these simple but highly effective upgrades result in an unbelievable 83% reduction in your maintenance time. It literally drops a 3-hour agonizing chore down to just about 30 minutes a week. And hey, if you want to take it to the absolute extreme, here is the holy grail. By installing a constant drip water changer, pairing it with an undergravel filter, and adding a fluidized K1 media sump that literally never needs mechanical cleaning, your weekly maintenance drops to 0 minutes. Yep, 0. You are left with absolutely nothing to do but sit back, relax, and occasionally watch your fish eat. So, I want you to take a look at your current setup. Are you fighting nature, or are you letting it work for you? Consider using the easy sketches, blueprints, and scientific tips we covered in today's explainer to finally step back and let Mother Nature do the heavy lifting. Thanks for joining me, and here's to happier, completely stress-free fish keeping.